One definition that has found a lot of popularity with a variety of religion scholars was offered by an anthropologist named Clifford Geertz. One of the things that Geertz here is trying to do, like these other scholars and thinkers are trying to do, is trying to find a way to express in an all-encompassing but general way the totality of religious experience. And so Geertz says, religion is a system of symbols which acts to establish powerful, pervasive, and long-lasting moods and motivations in people. By formulating conceptions of a general order of existence and clothing these conceptions with such an aura of factuality that the moods and motivations seem uniquely realistic. Now, we might need to unpack that a little bit. Let's start with this first phrase. Religion is a system of symbols. What do you think Geertz means by religion is a system of symbols? What is a symbol?
Something that points to something else.
All right, something that points to something else, something that stands in for something else. In what way is religion symbolic?
Outside of ourselves.
Right, usually points to something outside of ourselves, or the actions of religion are symbolic of other things, right? So let's stay within Christianity. Right? Yes, there's the symbol of the cross, but baptism itself is a symbol. Right? Now, I'm not saying that it's not a symbol that effectuates what it symbolizes, but it symbolizes the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. Communion is a symbol, right? It symbolizes the blood and the body of Jesus. So there's a lot of ways in which those elements, the practices, the teachings are symbolic. Right? The Bible itself is symbolic, right? It points not to just itself, but the reality behind itself, right? So religion is a system of symbols. Those symbols, Geertz says, act to establish powerful, pervasive, and long-lasting moods and motivations. What does he mean by that? So what does this system of symbols, what does it produce within people?
A mindset that is generally shared by the community.
Okay, so keeping with the M's, right? Mindset. What else? How else can we rephrase that? Okay, so these symbols produce feelings, they produce ways of thinking, but they also produce what? What does he mean by motivations?
About life purpose.
Yeah. Reasons to act, and purpose would be another way to think about. These things are powerful, pervasive, and long-lasting. What does that mean?
Well, when you look at, going back to Christianity, when you look at the symbol of baptism, that symbol that we partake in, I guess, definitely creates powerful, pervasive, and long-lasting moods. It's very powerful. It's a very powerful experience with a more powerful meaning that we can understand totally. And then it is definitely long-lasting if you are committed during your life.
Yeah, so these symbols aren't just, that means such and such. It shapes who you are. It gives you purpose again. It gives you reason for living, the power to live. It's something that is encapsulated in all aspects of life, right? If you think about what communion and baptism symbolize, even though you're not partaking of communion, the fact that you're participating in the blood and the body should pervade your entire life, right? Your baptism should pervade your entire life. I act this way, I do these things, I do this at certain times because of what happened when I participated in that symbolic act. And they're long-lasting, right? For a lot of people, that shapes their entire life or a good part of their life. Now, it does this, right? This is a system of symbols that produces these moods, motivations, mindsets, feelings. It does this by formulating conceptions of a general order of existence. What does that mean? Saying here that the way that these powerful, pervasive, and long-lasting moods and motivations are created is in part produced by formulating conceptions of a general order of existence. But what's a general order of existence?
Why we are and what we are to do with that.
Yeah, how the way the world works, right? Who we are, and a part of that, how we fit in with the universe, how we should act, right? And so religion creates these ideas about this is how the world works, right? And this is who you are in the grand scheme of things. And because of that, right, you get these moods, motivations, mindsets, feelings, as you partake in the symbolic system. Because, as a part of religion, these conceptions appear with an aura of factuality, and these moods and motivations seem uniquely realistic. What does that mean?
When you look at all these different religions in the world, if you ask a Muslim, do you think that what you believe is factual? He's going to say yes. If you ask a Christian, do you believe that what you believe is factual? He's going to say yes. So each religion has its own aura of factuality within itself that those moods and motivations created by the symbols that they partake in make it seem realistic and worthy to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the idea of not only does it tell you that this is the way the world works, that it's that, religion to the practitioner seems like this is the way it is. Right? This is true. This is factual. This is real. Right? So religion has this. It involves these things that point to other things. It includes this general order of how the world works and how we fit inside of it. That seems true and real. And those things produce within people how to feel, how to act, in such a way that they maintain a lot of power in their lives, that they pervade all sorts of aspects of somebody's lives, and they stay there for a long time. So what do you think? Does Geertz help us? Does Geertz provide us with something that we can say, yeah, that probably gets it, or has he missed it?
And for the most part, when defining religion, not when defining a specific religion, but when defining the term religion, for the most part, it's pretty solid.
Okay.
Probably the best definition that we've looked at so far.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of people, if you pick up a academic textbook on religion, I can't remember, does Corwan? I think he talks about here. But, a lot of world religions textbooks use this one. Others have said, well, there are probably some other things that we need to talk about. Because, in a sense, he kind of leaves it as religion is this thing out here acting. And that it really exists. And a lot of people begin to say, well, is there actually a thing called religion, or is religion code for something else? Social interactions. And so it's kind of like he presents religion as if it's something that really exists, right? You can feel it, touch it, taste it, it's there. Right? We can stick it on the table. But I think it's a good I think is a good definition to kind of give us an idea of a very broad way of approaching this aspect of human existence in such a way that it encompasses a lot of that diverse, those first two sheets of, here are all these things. How do you fit all of that under a umbrella definition? I think Geertz does a good job with that. So much so that it'd be really good to know that definition. Hint, hint.
Are you trying to tell us something?
So religion, we've talked about, in a brief way, kind of deals with those ultimate concerns. And as we get into thinking about Prothero, one of Prothero's important points is that this mentality that exists in a lot of, especially American society, of religions are all roads up the same mountain, is problematic. But on the other hand, right, and I think that Prothero brings some good points, we can kind of also say that religions are, in many respects, concerned about fixing something in the world. Sometimes referred to as salvation, sometimes referred to as liberation. Right? Something's wrong, let's fix it. It's got to be set right. But also within that, there's the ideas of, what are the goals of life? What is most important? What do I hope to achieve? How is this made right? And that can appear in a variety of different ways that are important things for us to hold on to as we go throughout the next several weeks. This salvation or this liberation could be personal or it could be cosmic. Some religions focus on the personal. Salvation is about human beings, right? And it's private, it's particular. And so liberation or salvation is about, the individual. Others talk about cosmic salvation. The goal is the redemption of the universe. And so things are done to set things right in the universe, not just what's right in a person's life. Right? And so we might think of some Native American rituals done to continue order in the community. Right? The forces of chaos at bay outside. Sometimes that salvation, the liberation, might be about the present reality, but it can also be about hopes for the future. But when you think about it, this can often have an impact on so much in a person's life. If you think that the only goal in your religion is about something in the future, how are you going to look at your current situation? You won't care. And so there's not that impetus to be involved in society because, it's all about the future. So, for example, there were a lot of, in the early 20th century, well, let me kind of back up a second. We think of, let's say, evangelicalism in the United States as a very politically involved religion. Right? The Christian right, or the religious right, very involved in politics, trying to shape the political sphere of the United States. But in the early 20th century, a lot of the ancestors of the current Christian right were less likely to be involved in politics because their concern was save souls for heaven. And so it was more about the future hope. And that had an effect even on architecture of church buildings. The church buildings were made to be very simple because we need to be spending money on missions, right? Because we need to be saving people. So the present reality became less of a concern with, fundamentalist evangelicals weren't that concerned about trying to overhaul poverty, right? Weren't trying to make grand changes in social order. It was about saving people's souls, right? Preaching the gospel to save people's souls. Now, probably, right, from a Christian standpoint, we've got to find a way to balance both of these. Right? Because we can't ignore people's souls and their eternal destiny, but we also can't ignore suffering, right, experience where we have the ability to make a positive difference. Right? So we should be trying to balance those things, but a lot of religions or sections within religions try to focus on one or the other. Sometimes salvation or liberation is very focused on the individual, but it can also be focused on, or it could be focused on the community. Now, this is slightly different than personal and cosmic, because cosmic is more about, the salvation of the universe, right? That's the physical things. That's it's more than just your group of people, right? And so that's the difference between this set and that set. This worldly or transcendent, focused on the concerns of this life and existence, or something beyond, all encompassing. Slightly different from that second. There are a variety of ways to achieve this salvation or liberation or goals in world religions. But essentially we can break them down into a couple of themes or a couple of tropes or paths. We'll talk more about these. We'll actually talk more about these on Thursday. There is the way of faith. There's some religions that we'd say the emphasis is you achieve salvation, liberation through faith. For others, it's about devotion. You achieve salvation, you achieve liberation, you achieve your goals by devoting yourself. Thirdly, it could be the way of disciplined action. There are certain rituals or behaviors you need to engage in to achieve liberation. Or it could be the way of meditation and insight. Right? You're seeking spiritual wisdom. You're seeking this experience of knowledge, or you're trying to clear your mind to find truth. We'll pick up on Thursday, so we'll stop here a couple of minutes early. We'll pick up on Thursday, break these down a little bit more, but then also get into talking about approaches to religion. What are some ways that we can study theology historically, those kind of things, and also talk about some terms, some key terms that we need to have as we begin.